Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare wheat pennies. These classic coins hold an incredible history, and some are worth millions. So today, we are gonna uncover the rarest varieties, their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, we're diving deep into the story of a true American classic, the 1917 Wheat Penny. Now, don't let its age fool you into thinking it's just another old coin. Because the truth is, this humble 1-cent piece holds a legacy of wartime America, rare minting errors, and surprising value that could blow your mind, especially if you've got one sitting in your collection right now. So sit back, listen closely, and let's take a journey through the fascinating tale of the 1917 Wheat Penny. The year 1917 was a pivotal moment in American history. The nation had just entered World War I, and everything from politics to production was shifting. Amidst all this change, the United States Mint was hard at work producing millions of coins for everyday use, including the iconic Lincoln Wheat Penny. Introduced in 1909, the Wheat Penny had already become a staple in Americans' pockets, but the 1917 edition holds special significance, both for its timing and the rare features that make it so desirable to collectors today. Let's start with its design. On the obverse side, you'll find the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, as designed by Victor David Brenner, a powerful symbol of unity and leadership during uncertain times. Flip it over, and you'll see the classic wheat ears on the reverse, representing prosperity and American agriculture. It's a simple yet timeless design that collectors cherish. But it's not just about how it looks, it's what's hidden within this coin that truly tells the story. One of the most coveted versions of the 1917 penny is the double die obverse variety. This minting error occurs when the coin is struck twice by a misaligned die, creating a slightly shifted duplicate image. If you look closely at the date 1917, or the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," you might notice a shadow or doubling effect. This is not damage or wear. It's a rare manufacturing mistake that turns an ordinary coin into a highly sought-after collector's item. Coins with clear and dramatic doubling can fetch a premium, especially when they're in good condition. But the double die isn't the only treasure buried in 1917 pennies. Some versions feature die cracks, cuds, or even off-center strikes, each of which adds uniqueness and rarity to the coin. A die crack can look like a raised vein stretching across the surface of the coin, caused by a fractured minting die. Cuds are blobs of extra metal where part of the die broke off completely, and off-center strikes result when the coin blank shifts during minting, creating an off-balance image. All of these anomalies weren't meant to happen, but when they did, they created one-of-a-kind coins that collectors absolutely love. What also makes the 1917 penny fascinating is the variety of mint marks. That year, the coin was produced at multiple mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. Some of the rarest and most valuable examples come from the Denver and San Francisco mints, especially when paired with one of the errors we've mentioned. And don't forget, condition is everything. A coin with sharp detail, full wheat stalks, and no signs of heavy circulation can be the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery. Now, you might be wondering, how much could a 1917 wheat penny actually be worth today? Well, if you're lucky enough to find one with a strong double die, a rare mint mark, or any of the error features we talked about, and it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be holding a coin that's worth an astonishing $82,000. Yes, you heard that right. $82,000 for a single penny that might have traveled through a century of history, only to land in the hands of a true collector. That's the magic of coin collecting. Every coin has a story, and some are worth far more than you could ever expect. Top 2, we're taking a journey back to the final months of World War II. A year filled with global turmoil, American strength, and yes, some truly incredible pennies. That's right, we're talking about the 1945 Wheat Penny. This tiny copper coin holds more than just historical value. It holds the potential to be worth a small fortune. So, don't blink, don't scroll away, because if you've got one of these in your collection, you'll want to hear every detail about what makes this penny so valuable, so rare, and so special. By the end of this video, you might just run to your coin jar to take a second look. Now let's start with a little context. The 1945 Wheat Penny was minted during one of the most intense times in American history. World War II was nearing its end, and the entire nation was mobilized for victory. Materials like copper were in high demand for the war effort. Just a few years earlier, in 1943, the U.S. Mint had even made pennies out of steel to save copper for ammunition and machinery. By 1945, copper was back in use, but the effects of wartime minting could still be seen, and that's where the story of this coin starts to get interesting. Most 1945 pennies were made from standard copper alloy, 95% copper and 5% zinc. Millions were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But despite their common production, not all 1945 pennies are created equal. And that's where rarity comes into play. Some 1945 wheat pennies feature mint errors that make them stand out from the crowd. One of the most famous is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, slightly offset, which causes a visible doubling of the lettering or date. If you find a 1945 penny where, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the numbers in the date appear doubled, pay close attention. That doubling isn't damage. It's an error from the mint that can multiply the value of your coin. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet, what would become the coin, isn't properly aligned with the dice. The result? A coin with a design that's shifted off to one side, with part of the image missing. These off-center pennies are rare, and the more off-center the design, the more valuable the coin becomes. Also worth noting are die cracks and cuts, imperfections caused by damaged or broken dies. These create raised lines, bumps, or even entire chunks of missing design on the coin. They're often easy to spot and add to the uniqueness and collector appeal of the penny. No two are exactly alike, and that's a big deal in the world of coin collecting. Let's not forget about mint marks. The 1945 wheat penny came from three mints: no mint mark for Philadelphia, a small D for Denver, and an S for San Francisco. While most are common, rare combinations of mint marks and error types, especially from the San Francisco Mint, are known to be some of the most desirable coins from this era. But condition is everything. Most 1945 pennies you'll find have seen decades of use, worn smooth from handling and circulation. But a 1945 penny with no signs of wear, what collectors call uncirculated or mint state, is far rarer. Combine mint condition with a dramatic minting error, and now we're talking serious value. So, how much could a rare 1945 wheat penny actually be worth? Well, hold on to your coin albums, because if you've got a 1945 penny with a strong error and pristine condition, you could be looking at a value of $80,000. Yes, you heard me right, $80,000 for a single penny. A coin that once bought a piece of candy could now buy you a brand new car, pay off debt, or fund your dream vacation. That's the magic of numismatics. It's not just about money, it's about history, craftsmanship, and discovering hidden gems that most people overlook. Top 3, we're diving deep into one of the most underappreciated yet potentially life-changing coins in American history, the 1950 wheat penny. At first glance, it might look like just another old copper coin. Maybe you've seen one in your change jar, your grandparents' coin box, or a flea market collection. But let me stop you right there, because this isn't just any penny. Under the right circumstances, this small cent could be hiding a massive surprise, and its value might be enough to leave you speechless. Let's take a closer look at why the 1950 wheat penny deserves a spotlight. What makes certain versions of it extremely rare, and how a handful of these coins have skyrocketed in value among collectors. So stay tuned, because we're not just talking about copper, we're talking about history, rarity, and possibly a hidden treasure worth a small fortune. Let's start with the basics. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The design features Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, a classic image that ran until 1958. Now, zoom in on the year 1950. The post-World War II era. America was booming, suburbs were growing, and the mint was working overtime to produce coins for a rapidly growing economy. That year, the U.S. Mint struck wheat pennies in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. While millions were produced, not all were created equal, and that's where the story gets exciting. The rarity of the 1950 wheat penny comes down to a perfect storm of error types, minting anomalies, and preservation. You see, while the average 1950 penny might be common in circulated condition, some versions hold a different story, especially if they include minting errors. And it's these errors that take a penny from pocket change to prized collectible point. One of the most sought-after varieties is the double die obverse, where the image of Lincoln or the lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust appears slightly doubled. This is caused by the die striking the coin twice in slightly misaligned positions. These aren't scratches or damage, they're official mint mistakes, and they make the coin significantly more valuable. Another error to keep your eye out for is the off-center strike. Imagine looking at a coin where Lincoln's face or the date is shifted way off to the side. That's what an off-center strike looks like, and depending on how extreme the shift is, the rarity and value can jump through the roof. Then there's the BIE error, unique to Wheat Pennies. This occurs when a die crack forms between the B and E in Liberty, making it appear like there's a capital I between them. It might seem minor, but collectors go wild over these tiny die flaws, especially on earlier Lincoln cents like those from 1950. Don't forget about the repunched mint marks either. Back in the 1950s, mint marks were hand-punched into the dies, and sometimes they didn't get it quite right the first time. So if you've got a 1950 D or 1950 S with signs of doubling or overlapping in the mint mark, congratulations, that repunched detail could make your coin significantly rarer than others from the same year. But wait, here's the key ingredient: condition. Even if your 1950 Wheat Penny has an error, its value skyrockets if it's in mint state condition. That means sharp details, no signs of wear, bright luster, a coin that looks like it just left the mint yesterday. Uncirculated condition coins with these rare errors are where the big money lies. And here's where it gets really exciting. If you happen to have a 1950 Wheat Penny with one of these major mint errors, like a double die, dramatic off-center strike, or a repunched mint mark, and it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, then you might be holding on to a coin that's worth an unbelievable $78,000. Yes, you heard that right. $78,000. For a single penny, one that you might have walked past 100 times without realizing it. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It rewards knowledge, patience, and curiosity. So, the next time you're sorting through your coins or looking at that dusty coin jar on the shelf, keep an eye out for the 1950 Wheat Penny. Look closely. Examine it carefully. Because you never know, you might be holding on to a rare piece of American history that could change your financial future. Top 4, we're diving into one of the most underrated coins that could be hiding in plain sight. The 1952 Wheat Penny. At first glance, it might not look like much. Just an old copper cent with Abraham Lincoln on one side and some wheat stalks on the back, right? But what if I told you that some versions of this humble penny are worth more than a brand new luxury car? Yes, seriously. Today, we'll uncover what makes the 1952 Wheat Penny so special, the rare errors you need to know about, and how to tell if the coin sitting in your drawer is a hidden gem. Let's start with the basics. The Wheat Penny, or Lincoln cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. It was America's first circulating coin to feature a real person, none other than President Abraham Lincoln, honoring his legacy on the centennial of his birth. And for nearly 50 years, this coin carried a simple yet iconic reverse design: 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Now, zoom ahead to 1952, an important year in American history. The country was in the middle of post-World War II prosperity. The Korean War was ongoing, and President Harry Truman was nearing the end of his term. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins to keep up with the booming economy, including millions of Wheat Pennies. The 1952 Wheat Penny was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, with no mint mark, Denver, with a D, and San Francisco, with an S. Most of these pennies were spent, worn, and forgotten in circulation. But a few, just a few, emerged with errors that have collectors and experts paying close attention. So, what should you look for? First up, the double die error. One of the most sought-after varieties in coin collecting, a double die penny shows a clear duplication of design elements. On the 1952 Wheat Penny, doubling can be found on the lettering, especially in Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date itself. This happens when the die used to stamp the coin shifts slightly between strikes. If your coin has this feature, you've got something incredibly special. Another rare and exciting feature is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank, called a planchet, isn't properly aligned when it's struck by the dies. The result? A coin with part of the design shifted or even missing. The more off-center it is, especially while keeping the full date visible. The more valuable it becomes. There's also the BI error, a type of die break between the letters B and E in Liberty that makes it look like there's a capital I stuck in there. These aren't common, and when they show up in good condition, they get snapped up by serious collectors almost instantly. And don't overlook the re-punched mint mark. In the early 50s, mint marks were hand-punched onto dies. Sometimes the mark was placed more than once, creating a ghosted or doubled effect. A 1952 D or 1952 S wheat penny with a clearly visible re-punched mint mark. That's a keeper. Now, let's talk about condition. A coin with an error is valuable, sure, but combine that error with uncirculated, mint state quality, and now we're entering a whole new level. These are coins that were never used, never handled roughly, and kept as crisp and detailed as the day they left the mint. Sharp details on Lincoln's hair, strong lines in the wheat stalks, deep luster, and a smooth surface with no scratches. These are the hallmarks of a coin that will bring in top dollar at auction. And here's what makes this exciting. Most people overlook 1952 pennies. They assume they're common. But that's the secret. Most are, but some aren't. And those rare ones, they've stunned the collecting world when discovered in the wild or sold in private collections. So, now comes the moment you've been waiting for. If you are lucky enough to have a 1952 wheat penny with a major mint error, like a strong double die, off-center strike, repunched mint mark, or BI, and it's in stunning, uncirculated condition, well, you might just be holding a coin that could fetch as much as $76,000. Yes, $76,000 for a coin that most people wouldn't give a second glance. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's why we say, always check your change. This is why collectors love coins like the 1952 wheat penny. It's not just copper and zinc. It's a piece of history. It's mystery. It's treasure hidden in plain sight. And who knows? The next rare penny might be sitting in your pocket right now. Top 5, we're diving into a coin that might be hiding in your change jar, attic, or coin collection, the 1954 wheat penny. At first glance, it might seem like just another copper cent, but this humble coin has a story to tell, and for some lucky collectors, it's a story worth a small fortune. Let's start with the basics. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. It features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, a design that earned it the nickname Wheat Penny. The 1954 edition was produced in 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. While millions were minted, not all 1954 wheat pennies are created equal. So, what makes certain 1954 wheat pennies so valuable? The answer lies in rare minting errors and exceptional condition. Collectors and numismatists seek out these anomalies, and some have fetched impressive sums at auctions. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 1954 D/D/D repunched mint mark. This error occurred when the Denver mint mark was punched multiple times, resulting in a triple mint mark. Coins exhibiting this error are rare and highly prized among collectors. In fact, a 1954 D/D/D wheat penny graded MS-65 RD sold for $99 in November 2023, showcasing its desirability in the numismatic community. Another notable error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin planchet is misaligned during the striking process, causing part of the design to be missing or off-center. A 1954 D wheat penny struck 60% off-center and graded -58 Australian dollars, sold for $159 in January 2022. Highlighting the premium collector's place on such unique specimens, the broad strike error is another anomaly where the coin is struck without a retaining collar, allowing it to spread out and become wider than usual. A broad-struck 1954 S wheat penny graded MS-65 BN sold for $63 in March 2021, demonstrating that even minor errors can significantly increase a coin's value. Additionally, the BI error is a die crack that forms between the B and E in Liberty, making it appear as though there's an I between the letters. While this error is more common, well-preserved examples can still command attention from collectors. Now, let's talk about condition. A 1954 wheat penny in uncirculated condition is a rarity in itself. Coins that have been well-preserved, maintaining their original luster and details, are highly sought after. For instance, A 1954 wheat penny graded MS-67 sold for $31,200 at Heritage Auctions, setting a record for the highest auction price for this particular year and Mint.so. What does this all mean for you? If you have a 1954 wheat penny with one of these rare errors or an exceptional condition, you could be holding on to a valuable piece of American history. While not every 1954 wheat penny will fetch thousands, certain specimens have been known to sell for impressive amounts. And here's the exciting part. If you possess a 1954 wheat penny with a significant error and it's in pristine condition, it could be worth as much as $74,000. Yes, $74,000. That's the potential value of a rare, error-filled 1954 wheat penny in top condition. So, the next time you're sorting through your coins, take a closer look at those 1954 wheat pennies. You might just have a hidden treasure in your hands. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on valuable coins and collectibles. Happy hunting, and remember, the next great discovery could be just a coin flip away.